If you look at our plan, young people are front, back, center, left, right of our plan. Whether it is agriculture that we are focused on food security, we are working on how do we reduce the age of our farming community from 60 downwards, because it is the only chance we have to transform our agriculture and underwrite our food security. Whether it is our SMEs or manufacturing or the investment we are making in our special economic zones, our county aggregation industrial parks, that whole ecosystem is about young people and the employment that is potent in those spaces. Or whether it is our pillar on digital superhighway, it is about how we can monetize the talent, the knowledge, the expertise of the young people of Kenya using our digital platform. I was very happy this morning. I went to the ICT hub here in Nyeri. And Mike, a gentleman from the village here, was telling me how in the last 6 months he has made 500,000 working online. I am not talking about somebody working in America. I'm talking about Mike in Nyeri, working online here at the TVET institution here. And it is the reason why, as a government, we have made changes to the CDF Act so that members of parliament like my good friend Madenge here of Nyeri town, they now have an opportunity, and we have agreed with them that every ward in Kenya, the same way we have a TVET here in Nyeri Polytechnic, every ward in Kenya must have an ICT hub. We are going to equip those ICT hubs. We are going to connect them to internet. We are going to provide computer apparatus. We are going to provide teachers to make sure that we use the digital space and the talent, expertise, and knowledge of the millions of young people coming out of colleges like this, or schools, or universities, to drive our economy through digital jobs. That is the commitment we have made. And I'm saying to the young people of our nation, for the first time, you have an administration that is focused on deliberately creating opportunities for employment, for work, for the millions of young people in our country. It is not sufficient for us to say we are going to grow the economy. We must be intentional. We must be deliberate on where we are going to create these jobs, whether it is in our housing plan, whether it is in our special economic zones, whether it is in our county aggregation industrial parks, whether it is in our ICT hubs. The focus is on getting young people in Kenya with their knowledge, with their skills, with their competencies, with their talents, to be able to monetize them and contribute meaningfully to driving our economy. We cannot have a drinking nation. We must have a working nation. It cannot be both ways. And so those who are telling us that we have closed their bars and they are unhappy with us, surely. Ile hasara tumepata na madawa ya kulevya, you go to centers, you go to towns, you go to estates and villages, and you find young people who can hardly stand straight because of drugs, because of... That is unacceptable. And therefore, we are going to be firm, we are going to be forthright, because I know for sure nobody is going to die because they were not drunk. Hakuna mtu atakufa kwa sababu hajalewa. Na kama kuna mtu atakuwa mgonjwa kwa sababu atalewa, tutampeleka hospitali. Unless we have the men and women with skills and competences to assist us achieve the targets of Vision 2030, we run the risk of Vision 2030 being Vision 3020. And you know what that means. And I had a candid conversation. And it was not an easy decision, because I remember then when, as minister, when I said, we need to change focus. We cannot, it is good to learn history. And I was a very good student of history. We all know Vasco da Gama arrived, and he came from somewhere and he ended somewhere. But he since passed away, So while that is important, it is also important for us to think about the future. The future is different from the past. We need new skills. We need new competences. We need new approaches. We need new knowledge for us to tackle an ever-changing world. And therefore, we need to refocus our education as appropriately. On my way here this morning, I got the news from our friends in China that they have approved another 13 billion Kenya shillings to equip 70 of our TVETs that today don't have sufficient equipment. It is a coincidence that when we are celebrating 100 years, we got news that we have additional equipment to equip our TVETs, because TVET, if education is the key, TVET is the master key. And I am very proud of the achievements that we have made, the strides that we have made in our TVET sector. When we started this journey of TVET, there were less than 40,000 students. Today, I'm very happy that we have 350,000 students in TVET. Then, as the deputy governor has said, to go to a TVET institution was almost like a punishment. It had been made to look like that is the place for people who have not done well. But I am very proud that today we have changed the perception. We have changed the branding. We have changed the place of TVET to the extent that last year, up to 9,000 students who had been admitted to universities chose not to attend the university, but to come to TVET. Because it has been proven now that TVET presents an opportunity for practical skills, for people to acquire knowledge, to acquire competencies that have significant relevance to where we want to go as a people. The strategic design of our bottom-up economic transformation agenda is to accelerate economic growth by investing in its critical pillars in a manner that creates employment for millions of talented, motivated, educated. Somebody somewhere, for strange reasons, decided to abolish SIDAC and take this whole TVET sector back to the Kenya National Examination Council. Something that in the design that we worked on, it was very clear that we need a different assessment tool for TVET institutions, like what we are seeing here. Today, we were shown there how they now mark exams. Many students used to fail exams in TVET because their English is not so good. But you see, when you want to build, when you are a mason, there is no masonry in English. Masonry is masonry by any whatever language. So if you are not good in English, it is the reason why you are a mason, because you are not an English speaker, you are not an English teacher. So instead of marking the English, mark the masonry skill. And that's the difference we are making. And therefore, I want to congratulate CDAC. Please take up the responsibility of making sure that our young people acquire the skills without hindrances from other extraneous matters. Just imagine that hapo nyuma mtu amekuja kusomea useremala, anapata A kwa skill ya useremala, lakini kwa sababu ile examination iko na English, iko na maths, iko na sijui nini, anaanguka maths na English na nini, mwisho anasemekana hiyo exam yote ameanguka. Na hajakuja kusomea hesabu, hajakuja kusomea sindio? So this is why we are saying we need a different examination for the people who have come here to acquire skills and competence. We must mark and assess the skill and the competence. I was very proud when I met a young man in one of the booths there. And I asked him, okay, so you have come to learn tailoring. Akaniambia, hapana, nimekuja kusomea fashion and design. Nikasema, I apologize. Because tailoring kumbe ni ile ya zamani. Sasa ya saizi inaitwa hapo. So muendelee na fashion and design.